All right, hi everybody. It's Bonkai922. Now this is gonna be Strike the Blood episode. What's this? 13. Episode 13 review. Labyrinth of the Blue Witch. Before I get into this review, a few things. There's a few updates. The only chapters that came out today were just Seven Deadly Sins. So, most likely I will do Seven Deadly Sins now. Probably not, though. I actually want to just do the episodes first. I'll do Seven Deadly Sins later today. Make it a little bit easier for myself. There's that. And there's also something else. I'm going to do an anime series review on another anime, yes. For the winter. It's going to be 9. This one I'm going to do. I'm stuck on one of these two. ZX Ignition. Check that out. That looks very interesting. Or Conquer World Conquest. Something plot. I forgot. It is Vesda. Yeah, World Conquest Vesda plot. Problem with that one is, no, it's owned by Aniplex. But then again, I did do an afterthoughts for Valvrave Season 2. So, we'll see. We'll see. Either way, it's going to be one of those. Those are the updates. And last one I want to mention before I get into this review, Omegle. I'm thinking, listen, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Tell me what you guys think. I want to know. Once a week, I do a screen recording using QuickTime of Omegle. Once a week. Hey, I know Jerish, I think he did something like this. I'm thinking about doing it. But we'll see. But let's get into this episode review. Strike the Blood, episode 13. This was kind of a predictable episode. Even though it was a predictable episode, that it still got me like, you know? Gonna give this 4 out of 5. Yeah. Gonna give this 4 out of 5. The beginning part we have, what's her name? Floria. Ready to go back to her country. Sayaka's there and trying to escort her out. And she starts talking to her about this festival. They have this Halloween festival. Not exactly like Halloween, but it's a festival that pays homage to Halloween. And she's ready to take her out to go to the airport, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they get transported somewhere else. And he's like, and she's basically looking at her, looking at Sayaka, saying, "It looks like we're not going to be able to catch my plane." Kind of the joke there, and pretty much they're stuck. That's basically what happens there. The rest of the episode, we have, Kujo Katsuki. He's with Himuragi on the train. They're the stupid, bullshit that is there. And a corner of his eye, he thinks he sees this little girl getting molested by a guy. So he's going over to stop him. And then he gets pushed out of the train and this woman grabs him his arm. It's Nagisa's teacher. And she's saying, and she's apologizing to him because she thought he was the molester, the one molesting someone on the train. And that's when we see his teacher, Natsuki. Yeah, she's dressed up as a little, it's like, come on. You're not 20. This woman is not 20 years old. She looks like she belongs in middle school. Not playing the part. But anyway, that's basically what happens there. And, they say their goodbyes, kind of. And Natsuki, before he leaves, tells Kujo it's Halloween. And his classes will resume over after the weekend. And that's all she says. But the way she said it is like, it's Halloween, you need to be careful. And that brings up, he's in his room and he's sleeping and everything, and he's going to meet, in this episode, we get introduced to another character. The other character we get introduced to is Yuma. Now, by the way it looks, this Yuma person, sorry about that, is supposed to be a boy. That's what we were told from what was explained. Because, I think it was Nagisa. She's showing everyone, because they're waiting for him to show up, what he looked like. He looked like a boy. Shouldn't come as a shock. Oh, so there's another part I forgot to mention. These two witches show up. So now we're going into witches in this anime. Show up, and they just destroy this area and shit, and they're looking... They're looking for something. We don't know what they're looking for. But they said, we need to watch out for Natsuki, the Witch of the Void. So, that's basically what they were stating. I think they were called the something sisters? But anyway, the whole thing back to Yuma. They're all waiting for her to come down. And he falls down, and Kujo basically is carrying him. And big shocker, this is not supposed to be a shocker, but it is. Yeah. Okay. Yuma's not a boy. Yuma is a girl. Now, immediately when I was watching this episode, I thought to myself, wait a minute. We just had this pair of sisters, witches, attack the island. And they just destroyed everything, and they were saying to themselves, we need to watch out for Natsuki, the Witch of the Void. I thought to myself, that happens, and then this Yuma person shows up, and it's a girl. Coincidence? I don't know. That's what I meant when it seemed like what happened in this episode wasn't that too. It was kind of predictable, but at the same time, it was a surprise. So, they're introduced to her, it's not a him, and everything, and while they're going around having a good time, the story, blah, 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 Kujo's getting really acquainted with this longtime friend that just appeared, and they go to the tower, see everywhere, and each person gets a phone call. And they get notified that Natsuki has disappeared. Motoki, he gets a phone call, and that other one, the one who's the blonde, gets a phone call as well, stating that something has happened. They need to leave to take care of their business. Has to do something what happened with the whole, those witches appearing. So they leave. And he gets a phone call, Kujo, from Sayaka to inform him of what has happened to her. And basically, that whole thing in the beginning where they disappeared and went somewhere else, that was a distortion. Now, at the moment, we don't know what the distortion is, but most likely, the distortion has something to do with those witches appearing in the beginning of the episode. At least that's what I'm thinking. So, what ends on happening is, they basically, that doll shows up. Natsuki's doll is basically informed by her to protect Kanon. Kind of say. So, that elutes them going back to his house. Himuragi is going to now watch over them in that one apartment and make sure no one attacks her and everything. And then basically he's staying in his room, his apartment, with his sister and Yuma. Later that night, he decides to go take a bath. He's going to be the first one to take a shower and everything. So, Katsuki's about to open the door. He opens it, and we get this, and when it happens, this distortion, you get all these squiggly lines, and it's like, and then all of a sudden, he gets transported to Himuragi's bath. bathroom where kind of say. So obviously, this distortion is happening everywhere else. I know he gets yelled at by everybody, blah, 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 blah. And he's wondering to her, like, they're basically saying, "Oh, is this the same thing that happened to her?" And he's like, "We don't know yet. Just go back to your room and everything, and we'll figure it out." Goes back to the room, has a drink of water. Yuma's right behind him. He gets scared. He gets cut from the cut glass where he dropped the glass on the floor. She wraps him with a Band-Aid. And they're talking nonchalantly. And you know what's funny about this episode? They ring in Halloween like New Year's Eve, which I found very strange. But, no, it is what it is. And she's looking at him intently and kisses him. And I'm like, okay. But here's the weird part. She asked him, "Oh, do you care if I'm not human?" And he says, "Well, I have friends that are not human and all different kinds." Kind of. That's not exactly what he said, but that's what he was saying to that point. And we see behind her this thing. It was like a ghostly image of this night thing with purple flame or smoke or something coming out of its head area. And she kisses him. And then I'm thinking, what is that going to do? It's probably going to just, he's just going to get mind controlled or some shit like that. But once I saw that, I was like, oh shit, this bitch is a witch. This bitch is a witch. Yuma's a witch. So he falls asleep, and next morning he wakes up and he's like, why is my skin so smooth? I'm like, he goes to the mirror and I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Katsuki is now Yuma. And he's like, where are you? That's where the episode ends. Next week's going to be weird, though, next week's episode, because next week's episode is going to be like a flashback. So this is probably going to set up this whole arc, this Labyrinth of the Blue Witch. And here's the thing, I don't understand what the whole point is to this. Now, obviously, her power is probably kind of a soul thing. That ghostly image that was behind her was probably her power. It was probably magic that allows her to swap souls with another person by kissing them. Give or take. I can only think of a few things of why she's doing what she's doing. One, she's in cahoots with those other two witches, those sisters. Or two, there's another reason. Give or take. But this is... I'm guessing he doesn't have his powers anymore. Because... I mean, it's very confusing. What happened in this episode was very confusing. And it's like, at the same time, you think to yourself, it's kind of predictable in the episode, but at the same time, it's not. Because you're, like, shocked by, whoa, what's going on? I mean, I knew something was up when, kind of in the beginning, when this whole thing went down. When she shows up and you have the two witches in the beginning, I'm like, but at the same time, I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought, oh yeah, she was just going to kiss him and she would, just like, I didn't think she was going to swap bodies with him. Not at all. So, this was a big surprise. As far as what this is going to entail, maybe what's happening here is she's trying to hijack his body to accomplish some kind of mission. But that's just my thoughts. But like I said, next week's going to be more of a flashback. We'll get some scenes, present time, but there's going to be a flashback here. So, we'll have to wait and see on that. But overall, a good episode of, Strike the Blood. I didn't know, though. I mean, I had a feeling this person was a witch. I mean, we still need to find out if she really is a witch. But most likely, Yuma is a witch. By what she was saying in the episode, you can pretty much narrow it down. It's called Labyrinth of the Blue Witch. You kind of have a feeling that's what it is about. She's a witch. She's not human anymore. So, yeah. But the thing is, it's like, how does she know who he really is? That's what kind of I find, like, what's going on here. If what she did is what she did with the swapping of the souls. But yeah, that's the story, people. It was kind of predictable, but at the same time, I was surprised. But yeah, Bankai Night 22. See you guys later. Labyrinth of the Blue Witch. Oh God. You're like, I'm a girl. No. Now, he's going to be so kind of confusing with him and Aragi. Because, like, But yeah, we'll see what happens next week. I'm Bankai 922. I'll see you guys later. Tell me what you guys think about that Omegle idea. Should I do it and record it once a week? Should I go ahead with it? Tell me you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. I'm Bankai 922. The Blue Witch.